and welcome to this session on joining straight line to an arc. Let us begin with the session.
Let us look at the objectives of this session. At the end of this session, you will be able to mark lines on metallic surfaces with marking block, mark lines with scriber, mark angles with bevel protractor, bisect the angles with divider, mark circles, arcs and tangents with divider and scriber, register the profile with dot punch. Let us learn the procedure for joining straight line to an arc. The tools required for this exercise are steel rule, tri-square, divider, vernier caliper, marking media, different grades and sizes of files, surface table, vernier height gauge, angle plate, dot punch and center punch, ball peen hammer, anvil, bevel protractor, scriber. Check the raw material for its size using steel rule. File all the 6 faces using bastard file. Ensure parallelism and perpendicularity using a tri-square. Apply marking media on face A. Mark to size of 150 mm by 60 mm using vernier height gauge on a surface table with the help of an angle plate. Witness mark on the workpiece using dot punch and ball peen hammer on an anvil. File and finish to the respective sizes using different grades of files. Ensure parallelism and perpendicularity using a tri-square. Ensure the dimensions of the workpiece to be 150 mm by 60 mm using vernier height gauge. Clean the surface table with oil. Clean the angle plate, vernier height gauge, bevel protractor and place them on the surface table. Again, apply marking media on face A. Place the job on the surface table and support it with angle plate such that the 64 mm side rests on the surface table. Mark a line from face C at 75 mm which divides the entire workpiece into 2 equal parts. Name the 2 sides as 20 mm spanner side and 22 mm spanner side. Mark a center line datum from face B at 30 mm onto face A. The 30 mm line is the horizontal center line. Let us now learn the procedure to mark on the 22 mm spanner side. Mark parallel lines on face A from face B at a distance of 20 mm and 35 mm using vernier height gauge. Mark parallel lines from face C at a distance of 19 mm and 23 mm using vernier height gauge which cuts the horizontal line of 35 mm and 20 mm at points A and B respectively. Note points A, B and C for further markings. Mark 14-degree angle at point C from the center line datum using bevel protractor. Set the divider to 27 mm using a steel rule and cut the 14-degree angular line to obtain point D. Mark 90-degree line from point D towards point B using a bevel protractor and scriber. Set the divider to 22 mm using a steel rule and cut the 90-degree angular line to obtain point E. Similarly, mark 90-degree angular line with reference to line DE and cut it to a distance of 27 mm so as to obtain point F. Set the divider to 11 mm using a steel rule and cut the line DE into 2 equal parts so as to obtain point G. From point G, mark a line perpendicular to DE using bevel protractor and scriber. Set the divider to a length of 19 mm using steel rule and mark on the perpendicular line to obtain point H. Witness mark the arc centers A, B and H using center punch and ball peen hammer on an anvil. Set the divider to 19 mm using a steel rule. Mark an arc with A as the center, starting from point C as per the drawing. Mark an arc with B as the center and BF as the radius, which meets the 20 mm horizontal line as per the drawing. Mark an arc with H as the center and GH as the radius, such that the arc cuts the line CD and EF as per the drawing. Mark horizontal lines at a distance of 20.5 mm and 39.5 mm from face B onto face A, which cuts the arcs at points I and J respectively as per the drawing. Join the spanner object lines by using a template of radius 13 mm in the downward side as per the drawing. Join the spanner object lines by using a template of radius 51 mm on the upward side and complete the 22 mm spanner side as per the drawing. Let us now learn the procedure to mark on the 20 mm spanner side. Mark parallel lines on face A from face B at a distance of 26 mm and 38 mm using vernier height gauge. Mark a line at distance of 16 mm from face E using vernier height gauge, which cuts the 26 mm horizontal line at point L. Note point M for further markings. Mark an angle of 14 degrees to the line LM from point M using bevel protractor and scriber. Set the divider to 22 mm using a steel rule and cut the angular line so as to obtain point N. Mark an angle of 90 degrees with reference to line MN using bevel protractor and scriber. Set the divider to 20 mm using a steel rule and cut the angular line so as to obtain point O. Similarly, mark 90-degree angular line with reference to line NO and cut it to a distance of 22 mm to obtain point P. Set the divider to 10 mm using steel rule and mark the center point on line NO to obtain point Q. From point Q, mark a perpendicular line to ON using a bevel protractor and scriber. Set the divider to 16 mm using steel rule and obtain point R on the perpendicular line to ON. From point P, mark a horizontal line from face B so as to obtain point S at a distance of 14 mm. From point S, mark a line from face C so as to meet the 38 mm line at point T. Mark the arc centers T, Q and L using center punch and ball peen hammer on an anvil. Set the divider to 16 mm using a steel rule. Mark an arc with L as the center, starting from M as per the drawing. Mark an arc with T as the center and TP as the radius from P, which meets the 38 mm horizontal line. Mark an arc of radius 16 mm with point R as center such that the arc cuts the lines OP and MN. Mark parallel lines from face B at a distance of 21 mm and 39 mm so as to cut the arc at points U and V respectively. Join the spanner object lines by using a template of radius 51 mm on the downward side as per the drawing. Join the spanner object lines by marking using a template of radius 13 mm on the upward side so as to complete the 20 mm spanner side as per the drawing. Complete the spanner profile by connecting the end points of the 22 mm side and 20 mm side. Let us now learn about witness marking of the spanner object lines. Witness mark the spanner profile of 22 mm spanner side using a dot punch and ball peen hammer on an anvil. Witness mark the spanner profile of 20 mm spanner side using a dot punch and ball peen hammer on an anvil. Witness mark the remaining portions of the spanner profile to get the complete structure.
To recap, we have learned to mark lines on metallic surfaces with marking block, mark lines with scriber, mark angles with bevel protractor, bisect the angles with divider, mark circles, arcs and tangents with divider and scriber. Register the profile with dot punch. So that's all about joining straight line to an arc. Hope you have understood all the concepts and exercises. See you in the next session.